Walmart 2? I know what you mean. It's like the Walmart 2 might have went crazy there.
I'm here to go over why Neace is still stuck in Platinum, and also about how he's been expanding out from the jungle, and he's been saying that him losing in jungle is not his fault, and it's other factors that are making him lose in jungle. I'm just going to go over that and why he is really coping in regards to that, and what can be done in the future for him to escape Plat after he's been here for multiple weeks, and shows no real sign of being able to make Diamond anytime soon. So while Neace is still in Plat, he has actually started playing top lane, and he has been getting a decent win rate on it. He's above 50% win rate top, which is more than he can say for any other role. Let's just say that. And he has started to take his own advice of playing the rules you're comfortable with, playing the champions you're comfortable with. You know, he's always made videos like, it's always your fault, and he hasn't been living up to this part of coaching he gives himself, but yeah, he has at least listened to some advice people have been giving him. Not all of it, obviously. Like, this is another example of him. Why does every Plat player ignore everything I say? Well, Neace is a Plat player, and he ignores everything he says, but at least he is starting to listen on this one. And, you know, despite being a Plat, at least he is actually trying now, but he's not admitting that he's bad at jungle. He's saying that jungle is useless, and that it's just the meta's fault, the new jungle's fault, pretty much saying everything he can to shirk responsibility for his poor performance. And I'm just gonna go over a recent video he made and just show like kind of the coping that comes from Neace. Yeah, it's pretty crazy.
Not even trying that hard. I knew it would be easier to play up here.
So he's talking about top lane. He's saying that top lane is a lot easier, which I guess it would be if you're experienced on it. But let's see what he says about jungle.
But I think the meta makes it even worse, man. I can't.
So now he's blaming the meta. I don't get what he means by this. I think he means that it can't just power farm anymore, that you have to actually gank. But it's not something you can adapt to. You're learning new champions in the jungle. Why aren't you learning champions that are really meta, supposedly? He's talked about how weak Hecarim is, which I don't think is true. But then why are you playing him? Why don't you play Elise or whatever you think is the best turbo stomp solo queue jungle at the moment? It's not fair to blame the meta and say that it's what's making you lose games, and say that coin flipping is what's making you lose games, when you playing top lane and just having no impact is what's actually making you win the games.
Can't see how it's anything other than just jungle being shit.
Okay, and now he's making excuses. And as I highlighted earlier, he has that video called "It's Always Your Fault" and Plat players ignore my advice. He needs to listen to the advice. It's always your fault. I don't know. Like, at this point, it doesn't necessarily matter if he doesn't go back to jungle, but he needs to realize this. Like, it's really narcissistic that he's saying I'm quitting jungle. He's not saying like, oh, I can't jungle. He's just saying, oh, it's the meta's fault. Oh, jungle's weak right now. Like, it's not true. There are challenger jungle players. There are people climbing in jungle. You're just not able to, and that's a skill issue, to put it honestly. And you need to just improve. It's kind of your fault, and you need to learn better. This is just narcissism showing right through.
Everything adds up. It was end of season though, so I thought that it was like, I don't know, man. It was end of season when I played Fiora. It was like the very end of the season. Like, the meta of the jungle, like, I wasn't really playing jungle yet, so I didn't have a full, like, understanding, like a comprehensive understanding. And they changed the jungle.
So now he's saying that the jungle change is making it a lot worse, and that he can't learn it yet, and no one can. And anyone who criticizes him does not know what it's like to play in the new jungle and to play in Korea. And obviously this is not true. It's not like playing in Korea or playing in the new jungle are that different. And many people have played in the new jungle and have succeeded in Korea too. So Neace's excuses at this point don't make any sense.
And now it's like you legitimately cannot fundamental your way through the jungle. That's what it is.
Okay, now what are you saying is you can't fundamental your way through the jungle? And yes, you can. Probably to, like, Masters, you can fundamental your way through jungle, even in Korea, arguably. But you have to have some level of mechanics, some level of, just a really good level of fundamentals. And Neace doesn't have that really good level of fundamentals, unfortunately. And, yeah, so jungle obviously takes a lot of skill. I think it goes beyond the fundamentals. But if you just have fundamentals and a decent bit of mechanics, it's going to be an easy, just really easy, I guess, peak for Neace. It wouldn't be challenger, but it would be a peak for Neace in Korea, and he's not accepting that. He's saying that he has all the fundamentals, which he doesn't. And again, this is worrying because he's a coach, and people are paying him $350 for these supposed fundamentals he has, but he doesn't have them, and he claims to have them. And this is just another layer of his lies, obviously, down below his challenger lies.
And there's so many people that have struggled. I looked at what was it?
He's saying so many people are struggling, and I really don't see this. Like, maybe 1 out of 1 million people struggle, but people struggle in any server, and there might be other reasons for it. I don't think like anyone in your situation exactly really is going to be struggling. And if they are, there's a reason for it, and it's probably because they're bad. If they're actually in like exactly Neace's situation, they're struggling this hard, it's because it's a skill issue, okay? And maybe they can improve and get better, but Neace is not trying to improve and get better, and he won't.
I look at all these junglers like going through it. Like, okay, for example.
Give an example, please.
It's everybody's feeling this way, but nobody's articulating it. Look at this guy.
This guy is Grandmaster's Neace. Neace, you are playing against Platinum players. This guy's playing against Challenger and Grandmaster's players. Of course he's going to struggle a lot more. This guy is not necessarily a whole lot better than his opponents because he's playing against high elo players. You're playing against low elo players. Supposedly, if you're so good, then you're guaranteed to be better than them, okay? That's just how the game works, Neace. Don't be an idiot. Don't compare yourself to a Grandmaster player. That's just really arrogant of you. And yeah, this guy's in his high elo game, so obviously he's going to be struggling against other high elo players. It's not like he'd be struggling in your elo. Like, just realize it for what it is.
He's going through it. He's been a challenger player forever. Look. 1,000.
Like, bro, just because you're challenger at one point, it doesn't mean you're going to be challenger next season, but it's also just like, this is early in the season. People can like get higher on as the season progresses, or they can peak and like get lower. This happens all the time. Like, high challenger players will often like lose a lot and then gain a lot, and it really doesn't matter. Like, this guy has 49% win rate. Yeah, maybe that's partially luck, but eventually it's going to even out, and it's starting to even out, and maybe his accounts just has starting to get bad MMR, and that's why he's getting low LP. But I do think that you can't compare this guy to Neace. It's not like fair to compare a challenger or Grandmaster player playing against high elo players and saying that he's not quite as high as he used to be. Like, yeah, he's close to how high he was, and it's still early on in the season. For Neace, you're lower than you used to be by so much, and in lower elo. So, yeah, this guy's struggling, but he's probably struggling because of his skill, and you're definitely struggling because of your skill, Neace. Like, definitely, and your win rate's a lot lower than this guy's, and in a lot lower elo.
1,000 LP, 800, 400, 500. This guy has been fucking challenger on jungle every single fucking year, and look at him just.
I mean, he's close to challenger, right? And because he's negative win rate, that's probably a skill issue. Like, that's putting it blankly. And he might hit challenger again. Like, it's still early on in the season. It's not a sprint. It's a long game thing. Don't think about it in the short term. Neace has no capability of looking in the long term, which really sucks because he's going to be in Korea for so long, for multiple seasons, actually, I believe. So in like even next season, in season 14, he has to worry about this. So this is just obviously a horrible comparison.
Kinda like struggling on his main though. He's the guy I'm copying, right?
Yeah, sometimes people just have bad times. It's like the season's not even been out that long, Neace. Like, you can't compare yourself to a challenger player who's in Grandmaster. You claim to be a challenger player who's in Platinum. There's a big difference between that, Neace. I'm just gonna end it here. Neace is still coping about him quitting jungle, and I don't think that this is good for his coaching in the future. His YouTube is continuing to decline, and I don't really know what the future for Neace is, but it's not good. If he can't even hit Diamond on top lane in the next like week, that's gonna be embarrassing for him, considering how much he's grinding. I mean, yeah, I just don't think that Neace's ego ever lets him improve, and that's why he's stuck where he is. Let me know about what you think about it, and will he ever hit Diamond in the next week on top lane? He has been gaining a little bit on top lane, but it's really up and down like a yo-yo. So I expect him to drop likely in the next couple days, and then we'll see from there.